Coming up on Grady Newsource, we'll have in-depth coverage of the election results in Athens and surrounding counties. Plus, we'll take a closer look at how Jackson County is updating its public transit system. And later, we'll have analysis from a political expert on what the election results mean for Georgia. All of this and more on Grady Newsource, live at 5.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Ben Padavina. We begin tonight with a closer look at the election results in 5 counties across Northeast Georgia. Throughout tonight's show, we'll hear from election candidates, election officials, and experts in politics. But first, voters have cast their votes for Clerk of Superior Court in Athens, Clark County. Grady Newsource reporter Raven Alsobrook joined.
Thank you, Ben. Eliza Zarte is officially the new Clerk of Court here in Athens, Clark County. She was previously interim Clerk of Court after a vacancy this year in the position. She won against opponent Andrew Griffith by almost 3,000 votes with a voter turnout of 12%. I talked with the director of the Board of Elections here in Athens, Clark County about this year's voters turnout and what it means for next year's election.
That because it was a special election, not many voters showed up to vote. So when the election comes on the ballot next, which is in 2024, there'll be other offices on the ballot, which would generate more voters coming out to the polls.
Zarate promises to use technology to its benefits and increase accuracy and efficiency in regards to the Clerk of Court office here in Athens, Clark County, as well as provide online digital access to all land records in Clark County. Back to you, Ben.
All right, thank you for that update, Raven. We now move to the election results in Barrow County. Changes are expected at the county, city, and town levels. Grady Newsource reporter Gabby Konzian shares more from her conversations with the county's newly appointed officials.
The T-Splost, a 1-cent increase on the Barrow County consumption tax, has been passed, which will start the plan to improve sidewalks, roads, drainage issues, bridges, and resurfacing issues. There will be Barrow County projects in multiple cities and towns, including Auburn, Bethlehem, Brazelton, Carl, Statham, and projects right here in the city of Winder. City of Winder had the biggest ballot of all cities and towns in Barrow counties yesterday with 5 positions available. The newly elected mayor, Jimmy Terrell, was outside one of the polling locations yesterday, making sure people knew how important small elections are. Terrell supports local businesses and wants them to grow with the community. Along with Terrell yesterday was Power Evans, the newly elected Council Ward 3 member. Evans and Terrell note the importance of voting in smaller elections.
We'll hear from people who didn't vote, and they want changes, or they want this or they want that. And this is a perfect opportunity for a citizen to have some say-so in the community.
Their group was making sure the community knew what day it was by standing on the sidewalk with signs.
To, boost your name recognition and let the people know who you are.
For those who don't know me, I can't take the chance that they might see my opponent and not see me, or see me holding a sign. So, but it's fun.
The other winners in Winder are Travis Singley for Ward 3, Taffy McCormick for Council Member at Large, and Kobe Kilgore, who ran unopposed and is the Ward 2 Council Member. Gabby Kanzian, Grady Newsource.
Let's move now to Madison County, where Grady Newsource reporter Alex Scott gives us an inside look on how the voting process went for the county's residents.
The Board of Elections and Registration Office held a live tally yesterday in Danielsville after the race ended. Residents were able to watch the votes being counted on a data screen inside of the office. Representatives from each municipality came to help with the process. The election results for Madison County are as follows. Mayor Cynthia A. Hobbs was re-elected with 44 votes. For the city of Comer, Jimmy D. Yarborough won the position of mayor with 143 votes. And for the city of Danielsville, Michael Weidman won the position of mayor with 52 votes. Even though the election was successful for workers like Eddie Myers, with the live tally of the votes keeping things running smoothly, he says he would love to see a bigger voter turnout in the future.
Voter turnout was very low. We only had 39 voters all day out of approximately 500 voters for the city. So we would have liked to see a lot more voters.
The voting process looked different for some people this year, with some residents not being able to vote even if they have an address labeled as one of the municipalities. With Elections Chair Tracy Dean saying that you must live within the city limits to be eligible to vote.
Unfortunately, was not able to vote today, seeing as we don't live exactly inside the city limits, a little bit out. But we're looking forward to coming back and voting for the primaries, and we expect a good and easy process then.
Elections Chair Tracy Dean encourages citizens to go out and vote because their voices need to be heard. I'm Alex Scott, Grady Newsource.
Let's move now to Oconee County, where voters decided on 3 positions in Watkinsville yesterday. Grady Newsource reporter Ethan Wells shares more on what candidates have in store for their next term.
Election day in Watkinsville ended with familiar faces still in their positions. The mayoral race was unchallenged, while the incumbents for both city council posts were re-elected. Brian Broderick remains Watkinsville's mayor after running unopposed. Brian Broderick has 3 main points of interest for this term, including adding more green spaces, developing roads, and promoting downtown business.
You know, my platform revolves around 3 things: best spaces, best places, best people. And that's what I've always said is important.
Incumbent for City Council Post 1, Chuck Garrett, defeated Rebecca Billings by a margin of 147 votes. Garrett returns for his second term with the people of Watkinsville in mind.
Position is, my heart was to listen and serve, and listen to what our citizens are wanting, or what their problems may be, and then being willing to be on the board and serve.
Connie Massey, incumbent for City Council Post 2, defeated challenger Caroline Maltzby by a margin of 188 votes. Massey will now begin her 4th term. Grady Newsource has reached out to Massey, but has yet to hear a response on her priorities. However, only 19% of registered voters participated in this year's election. For Bill Cray, a Watkinsville citizen, serving jury duty, paying taxes, and voting are extremely important.
I came out to vote because it's one of the 3 civic responsibilities of citizens. I am a seasoned citizen, and I haven't missed many.
Coming up after the break, we'll head to Jackson County and hear from a political analyst. You're watching Grady Newsource, live at 5.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. Alright, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. We now turn to Jackson County, where one county agency is urging citizens to be aware of their garbage disposal. Grady Newsource reporter Hadia Williams tells more about the dangers of throwing away lithium-ion batteries.
Trash is piled high at the Jackson County Waste Transfer Station, a place where citizens can responsibly dispose of most waste. Despite this service, the danger in throwing away lithium-ion batteries has recently surfaced.
We've had some batteries from cell phones and even rechargeable toothbrushes and that sort of thing get crushed by the equipment. And when they get crushed, fire basically shoots out of them and catches the trash around it on fire.
Here in the transfer station, waste is dropped off and sifted through for all batteries and electronics that are considered a fire hazard.
So far this year, there have been 6 fires in the station that have been put out with sand, but the transfer staff worries about their safety for the future. They now advise citizens to find ways to recycle their hazardous waste.
So here in Jackson County, we have events called Jackson County Clean and Beautiful, which you can also take those and they'll be recycled in a proper way.
The station says that recycling is the best way to keep the staff and themselves safe, with battery retailers, hardware stores, and automotive supply stores being some of the places that take used batteries.
You could call different companies to try to find who's recycling the batteries. Our biggest fear is someone getting hurt. We want all of our people and all of the citizens to be safe. And of course, we don't want to lose our facility either.
Grady Newsource, Hadia Williams.
Returning now to our ongoing election coverage, Grady Newsource reporter Joe Copshow recaps Election Day and the latest results on municipal voting in Jackson County.
Here at the polling site of Commerce on Election Day, there's been a steady stream of people coming in and out as some feel like it is their civic duty to vote today.
Well, I think that's everybody's obligation, really. I mean, you've got to vote.
And the votes mattered. One of the biggest issues on the Commerce ballot was an issue of up to $13 million going toward a double gym recreational facility. It was passed by a count of 484 to 468, a small margin of only 16 votes. In the 2 neighboring municipalities of Nicholson and Maysville, important mayoral races were on the ballot, but turnout was much less than in Commerce. Here at Nicholson City Hall, while there might not be as many people voting as other municipalities, there has still been a steady stream as people come on Election Day. Nicholson had the second lowest turnout by total of the municipalities as Steve Nichols defeated incumbent Jan Webster to become mayor. The lowest total turnout was in Maysville, where incumbent Richard Presley remained mayor over Bill McLeish by 5 votes. While the low turnout is not unusual, these elections are impactful, according to political analyst Dr. Charles Bullock.
One could certainly make the case, though, that in terms of how a government's decisions impact an individual's daily life, those local elections arguably might be more significant than a presidential election.
The municipality with the highest turnout was Houston, as 31.84% of registered voters casted a ballot after former acting mayor James Lawson called for action.
Just get out there and vote, do your research, find the best people in place.
The hot button issue in Houston was the mayoral race, as Debbie Martin was elected to the position. She replaces acting mayor James Lawson, who took over for Lauren O'Leary after her resignation. As Election Day has come and gone, Dr. Bullock highlighted that newly elected local officials, such as Debbie Martin, play an integral role in controlling taxes, road repavement, and more.
Here at Grady Newsource, we made it a point of emphasis to cover these local elections because they matter. And to better understand why these local elections are important, I spoke earlier today with Dr. Audrey Haynes, an associate professor of political science here at the University of Georgia. Here's what she had to say.
If you think about the impact that people who are elected in these local elections have on your life, it probably would be a much greater impact than you think. As I said, there is a saying that says the closer the elected official is to your doorstep, the more of an impact that they have. And just think about this for a moment. A lot of the elected positions we're talking about are mayor, county commission, the DA, the school board. I mean, that's your infrastructure, your services, your crime and justice, and your education. Those are all incredibly important and affected by local politics and local elections more so than people recognize.
After the break, we'll have more from Jackson County ahead of this week's weather forecast. You're watching Grady Newsource live at 5.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, that's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. In Jackson County, the Transit Department has received funding to build a new shelter for their buses. We're joined now live in studio by Grady Newsource reporter William Daughtry. Will, tell us more about what this shelter benefits the county's residents.
Thank you, Ben. So on Monday, the Jackson County Commission approved the receiving of grant money to fund $102,000 into a shelter for their buses. Currently, the buses sit in an uncovered pad in front of the transit office. Missy Burns, the transit director, told me the project is still in its infant stages and a bid is not even open for the construction of the shelter.
Like I said, it's just one of those things. It's good for safety and security of our buses, and the money was available.
That available money was given out by the Georgia Department of Transportation through the Transit Trust Fund program. Jackson County Transit does not have fixed stops, but rather by appointment pickups that go anywhere in the county or Athens-Clarke County for Jackson County residents. Burns says that they go curb to curb to get Jackson County residents where they need to go.
We provide somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 to 3,000 rides per month.
And with the grant money from GDOT through the Federal Transit Administration, the buses can be protected from things like the weather.
We did have a large limb fall off of a tree and crush a bus. It was totaled out due to the damage one time during a storm.
That's right. A bus was totaled in Burns' time as transit director due to a bad storm. We shouldn't see a bad storm this weekend, though, but I'll let our weather anchor, Aiden Coulter, give you the forecast.
Thank you, Will. As he mentioned, I'm Aiden Coulter with today's weather. Speaking of storms, we are forecasted to see some showers later this week, but We have had a lovely sunny day here in Athens with a high of 82, the hottest we've seen this week, but a few clouds are coming in tonight with a low of 56 later this evening. Now we're expected to have a beautiful, mostly sunny day tomorrow with a high of 81, just under today's high, with some wind gusts coming in between 5 and 10, but potentially 15 miles per hour. So hoping that that breeze makes it a little bit cooler. As we move to Friday, we're going to start seeing some clouds forming throughout the day, maybe some rain with a 30% chance of showers during the day and rising to 60% into the night. Now that 60% chance of rain is going to carry us into Saturday. The Saturday game, Veterans Day, it's going to drop a little bit to 50% into the night. So those of you attending the UGA football game, you may want to bring a poncho, some light layers, because the high is going to be 58. We have a low of 47. Now we're going to be expecting more of the same on Sunday, 50% chance of rain, mostly cloudy with a high of 55. But as we move into the night, we're going to see a really cool low of 40 degrees.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna. Thank you.
Study, please. I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Good evening, sports fans. I'm Lindsay Bornhorst, and today we're starting off with a historical win from the UGA women's soccer team. On Sunday, the Bulldogs defeated Arkansas 1-0 to mark the first ever SEC championship win for the program. Sophomore midfielder Millie Filson describes the last 30 seconds of the game when Arkansas got a free kick.
Our kick hit off the post, so we got so lucky that it didn't go in. And then it was just holding them off for the next 15 seconds. And when the final whistle rang, it was crazy. It was everyone stormed the field, and it was so fun.
The Bulldogs will play in another historic game against Liberty University. UGA is entering the NCAA tournament for the 11th time in the program's history. They're the 4th seed, kicking off at 4 p.m. this Friday at Turner Field in Athens. Moving forward, we have an update on Brock Bowers and his recovery from tightrope surgery. In a press conference yesterday, Coach Kirby Smart said that Bowers is back and running on dry land and, quote, "We're hoping that he keeps getting better." Monday marked the 3rd week since his surgery, but it's still unknown whether Bowers will play in Saturday's game. But Bowers or no Bowers, the Bulldogs will kick off at 7 p.m. in Sanford Stadium facing Ole Miss. It'll be one of the 2 top 10 matchups for this weekend, with Georgia ranked 2nd and Ole Miss ranked 9th. Finishing up with a little high school football, the GHSA playoffs kick off on Friday. In Jackson County, Jefferson High School will play at home against Jackson County High School. The Dragons are heavily favored, being ranked number 2 in the Class 5A, and the Panthers number 36. With all that being said, this weekend will be full of games worth the watch. Coming up after the break, we'll go back to Ben Padavina talking about an abortion rights change voted on in Ohio.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. Continuing on with our election coverage, we now look at the state of Ohio, where yesterday the people of Ohio voted to enshrine abortion rights into the state constitution as part of a growing trend of pro-abortion ballot measures succeeding in Republican states. I spoke earlier today with Dr. Haynes on what these results could mean for Georgia in 2024.
First way it will impact is that Democrats who are seeing that their Democratic colleagues across the nation are benefiting when they actually talk about the restrictions to women's reproductive health, they will probably be talking about them more.
One of the common similarities of the counties that we do cover is growth, both economically and in population. Speaking with Dr. Haynes, she mentioned the importance of city planners and managers. Here's more on their importance.
Hiring a city manager, electing a mayor should not be about national issues. It should be about doing a good job managing a community and bringing, security, consistency, and opportunity to a community.
Be sure to join us next Wednesday for a special edition of Grady Newsource focusing on growth in Northeast Georgia. That's all for tonight's episode. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our coverage of Northeast Georgia continues across our social media accounts and gradynewsource.uga.edu. For Grady Newsource, I've been Ben Padavina. Have a great night.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back